So it's morning after a night in Brest. Did you sleep all right?
I did actually. I had a really lovely sleep.
Did you? You didn't get woken up at 3:20?
No.
No, not at all?
No.
Not when that 54-foot yacht hit us?
What?
I didn't know you didn't get up.
I did not, no.
We got bashed last night by a Moody 54 DS as they left. The Germans hit us last night. The Germans. Just they had a German ensign on the back.
Then again, I will sleep through anything. Don't I?
I mean, I was sick, so Tilly was feeling a bit poorly, so she was in here with Kel, so I went in the bow cabin, and they did hit us on the bow, which meant hitting the bowsprit and the anchor clattering and stuff.
Was it damaged?
No, if anything, there was damage their boat. Our boat's tough as nails. But it did remind me, the Moody 54 DS, we looked at it at the boat show, and it was like inspired me loads for what I wanted to do on this boat, but it's just not the same boat. And it's stunning, it's amazing. I think the base model's like either 600 or 800,000 pounds. It is an amazing boat. But one thing I do remember when we look around it is the visibility from the helm is rubbish. Clearly, because they just hit us in the marina. But having said that, you have got amazing visibility behind, and we were behind them. Like my heart went from, it was like proper panic of flight. I was so bleary-eyed, I was so asleep. And then my head was out the hatch within about 4 seconds, and my heart was just going so fast because I was just like, what is going on? And I was just like, oh. And then I ended up just going, okay, bonjour. I just couldn't even remember what. Anyway, nothing I could have done. It just bounced off us and went off, and they were like, but they're all merry about it. They're like, hello, cheery.
After that revelation, it was time to do some passage planning. Most people don't go this way across Biscay. It's longer and there are a lot of navigational hazards to contend with. However, since 2020, there has been a new navigational hazard popping up along the normal Biscay route. Black and white 5.5-ton inquisitive dolphins, or orcas as they're commonly known, who have decided that it's rather fun to try and bite the rudders off of sailing yachts. Google it if you want to know more. Hugh has been keeping an eye on all of the latest information and logs of the current sightings and interactions for the last few years. And thus, we decided that as this boat contains everything we own and we have 3 children on board, to exercise risk limitation and thus take the longer inner Biscay route, staying close inshore. And although this route has more hazards, at least those hazards are fixed and more predictable. However, we are also aware that summer is fading into autumn, so we don't want to spend too long exploring this coastline and thus have decided that a series of longer passages with downtime in between would get us to Spain by the end of September. But first, rubbish time. Here you go, Katie. I bet you're regretting asking now. In France, there are huge bins for recycling and rubbish on every street. And there is no litter on the street. Take note, UK. Our budget doesn't allow us to sit in a fancy city marina for days on end, so it was time to leave Brest. We were still pretty tired from our channel crossing, so we just nipped round the corner to Camaret-sur-Mer and anchored to reset, recoup and get some jobs done.
So we spent a couple of hours having a big tidy this morning. I did the saloon. Kelly has done our cabin. You know what I love to do after Kelly spent 2 hours cleaning our cabin? That's right, get everything out the cupboards and do some DIY, because there's space. Woohoo! So anyway, I'm up in the ceiling panels. I'm actually just doing a bit of sorting. I'm running the Starlink cable out the way. It's still going through the window for the moment. But, you know, at least get it tidied away so it's not hanging over our head when we're sleeping. And then also having to think about other things that can be thought about. Meanwhile, Kelly's making noise outside because she needed some fresh air, so I've dispatched her, like I did with the crab, onto an outside job. Let's see what she's doing in her natural wild habitat. She's tied all the tools to her arm, which was sort of clever, but unfortunately she can't use them because she's got no range of motion. But when we were at the chandlery in Plymouth, we bought some bits for the rigging screws and bolts and stuff, and Kelly's going around tightening up all the guardrails around the boat for an extra level of security. A couple of bits were missing, pins and stuff, so we had like bits of, we've had some like cable ties on there for a while. So she's just running around doing a bit of tidy up, and it's going to mean as you walk around all the guardrails feel really tight and firm, as strong as perhaps almost the push bit in the pulpit, which would be great because there are washing lines and we need them to be strong.
The kids made stuff from air clay, and Hugh donned his best work, health and safety gear to try and modify the studio door that didn't fit. It still didn't fit. We did, however, get to see an incredible sunset. We had toyed with the idea of staying another night, but our hand was forced by the French, who seem to enjoy a national sport of anchoring as close as they can to each other despite there being loads of space. This made us feel really uncomfortable. These guys came in the night and anchored on top of our anchor. We envisaged this mass tangling under the waterline. This was a good reason to leave, so we embarked on our next long passage.
We are sailing gently downwind, making a lovely speed, and the nice thing about this is eggs are just scrambling themselves. Anyway, scrambled eggs, beans and toast for the kids.
I want to say something.
We had to time this with the Ras de Seine. Having navigated this obstacle last year, we were pretty confident. The basic premise is just to go when the tides are favourable, i.e. when the tide is heading in the right direction. They were, and we shot through the narrow and rocky channel with some very comfortable top speeds of 11 knots. We anchored for the night in Pouliguen, don't know how you say that, next to one of our buddy boats, Sailing Kendra. Although we wouldn't see them for another day or so, as at first light we set sail again.
Tilly's helping on the first watch. Kelly can stay in bed. It's a long sail today, it might be about 12 hours. So I said to Kelly, you stay in bed and I'll get Tilly to come and help me. And then me and Tilly can sleep later when Mummy and Eric can watch out, can't we? Cool. Right, beautiful sunrise.
Yes.
It had been our intention to meet Sailing Kendra at Belle Île, but the wind died down in the afternoon and we didn't fancy motoring, so we diverted to Iles De Glenan, a place lots of people rave about, dubbing it the Caribbean of France.
We are at this beautiful anchorage and we're just going to go for a swim.
Basically, it's like the Med, but the water's not quite as warm. But out here it's 30 degrees, so just go for it.
Hugh took the opportunity to dive down and check the anchor, although his lung capacity didn't allow him to have much of a look. We headed to shore for an explore and a family game of football.
How long my hair is, all the way down here, and this is the longest I've ever grown it, and I don't know whether to cut it or not, but it is annoying me every time I go swimming. It's a nightmare, and also it's all so knotted, and just in this lifestyle at the minute where we're not showering as often and we're swimming a lot more, I can't keep it clean, so I'm going to do a quick sailor's haircut. That's the plan. So my theory is, if I get the bobble in about the right place, so I reckon about there, what do you reckon, Kel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about there.
Yeah, that's good.
About 6 inches.
Just do it.
Enough for a hairband. Right, let's give it a go. Oh, it's like in a horror film where they just like have a prisoner and they just chop their hair off. carving my way through. I'm not so without this club. Look at that. That's at least a week's growth. It's just like, well, I've just cleaned.
Like a small mouse.
I've just cleaned the bottom of the.
Pet mouse.
Just a shorter version of what I had before.
Yeah, it's decent.
There you go. That's fine. That's basically what I wanted. Yeah. Basically, I want to go back a year. It's about a year.
The next day, we left early to join our friends on Belle Île. On the way, Eric discovered a new talent. He is incredibly proficient in the art of catching flies. I have no idea how he does it. I've tried catching a fly and it's pretty impossible. He caught 30 on this passage and released them back outside. Either that or it was the same fly 30 times. We were then surrounded by dolphins.
Oh my word!
They're everywhere! The dolphins are everywhere! Everywhere you look, there's dolphins!
We have stuck a tripping line and anchor buoy on our anchor. So here we go. Turmeric. That should do the job. Eric measured out about 12, somewhere between 10 and 12 meters with his hands, maybe 15, we're not quite sure. And that goes onto the anchor.
Yeah, we were hoping that this might subtly let the French know not to anchor near us. The kids and I went straight over to see John, Elaine and the boys. We met these guys on a Facebook group called Kids for Sail. It makes such a difference meeting up with other sailing families, and we hope to do a lot more of it. It's good for the kids and for us to have other people to talk to and share ideas with. Plus, John was able to explain the offside rule to Eric, ready for our 5-go sailing versus Sailing Kendra football match.
Kick the pass over, you'd be offside.
Thank you.
If you're here, when he kicks the pass, you're all right.
Okay, it's a bit empty.
We lost. We had a barbecue and we watched the sunset before heading home.
Well done, Jake.
And finally, here's a little update on our Irish passport / British passport in Schengen situation. Our channel documents our adventure as we go. It's a bit like you seeing all of our workings out on an exam paper. We aren't the authority on anything, which is good news, as it was pointed out to me that when I said immigration in Brest had got it wrong for saying Ireland isn't in the Schengen, they hadn't got it wrong. I was wrong. Sorry, Mr. Brest Immigration. The Republic of Ireland is not part of the Schengen zone, but it is part of the EU. Can you see why it's so confusing? All of the other stuff I said about Hugh and the kids being able to travel freely with me, however, is true, and I've had it confirmed by an organisation called Solvit. Solvit is a bit like Citizens Advice, but for the EU. I emailed them and I said, I am an Irish citizen with an Irish passport. My husband and children have British passports. Am I correct that my family can travel with me and are not bound by the 90 out of 180 rule? And B, what protocol should we follow? They sent me a lovely reply which confirms, as we thought, that the 90 out of 180 day rule doesn't apply to us because of my Irish passport. They said that the situation regarding stays in the Schengen area for my family members is confirmed by the Practical Handbook for Border Guards. If anyone would like to know more, get in touch or you could just email Solvit. I've put a link in the description. I'm still a bit on edge about putting all of this into practice, but many of you have also reassured us that it has been working for others, so I need to try and chill out about it really. It's constantly on my mind and it's stopping me from enjoying myself, as I hate the thought of doing something wrong. Ironically though, I'm the one who's Irish, so it should be Hugh who's worried. So there you go. That's the situation as it stands and as we understand it, October 2023. We'll keep you updated on any further developments.